Working. It is working. Hey, all right. Take 5. Let's go.
Take number 5. That's great.
What a joke. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this down. I'm gonna keep this up so I can see some comments from people if they want to ask anything. I see Marcy's on. We're good. Welcome everybody. What a challenge. Tracy and I were just talking. Like how many people probably would have just packed it in for the day and said, "Screw it, I'm done." But
Wow.
we've got the grit.
No, we have the grit for sure.
We're gonna figure out. We're always gonna figure out a way. So, the Sam I Am strategy. So everybody, welcome again. If you are watching on the replay, awesome. Welcome. Good to have you here. I'll say now for like the 6th time, if you were on yesterday and you caught the video that I did, it was awesome. And I'm not just saying that because I did it. Got really good feedback from people, a lot of phone calls and texts and everything, that it just really helped them with some strategy, some vision, and just understanding just some how to win each day. So today is going to be awesome as well. We've got Tracy Armstrong. If you don't know who he is, he hails from the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest. He's the reigning champion. He's a really good friend of mine. He is somebody that I've been getting coaching from lately as well. He's an amazing person, best-selling author, all the things. And today he's going to give you guys some really good strategies and some really good things on how to move forward, how to build momentum in your life. So Tracy, thanks, man, for doing this with me. And
my pleasure.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to today, and we've got some stuff we'll share at the end, some things that we're going to offer you guys, and just as we move forward in the next years, we build some things out together. So yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, my pleasure, Dave. And again, thank you for being diligent. Here we are, and the people that are jumping in. I'm going to see if I can look and just see who's jumping in on Facebook. I'm going to open that up in my app as well. So I'm excited because I like to talk about my subject that we're going to talk about today. And of course, I like to hang with Dave. And thank you for opening your platform. And those of you that are in the platform, on the platform, just go ahead and shout out where you're tuning in from, so we can kind of get an idea where you're coming in from, who you are. And then also I'm going to ask a couple of other questions. What are you looking for? What's some of the challenges that you're dealing with? So let's start with the chat. Who are you? Where are you coming from? Marcy, so glad. Thank you. You've been on every single time we tried. Marcy was the first on. Marcy was there. She was making it happen. Thank you, Marcy, for being there and just making things happen for us. So, and then of course, Neela is flowing. She's flowing this morning, and she's from Seattle. She's one of our team. And so we're going to West Palm Beach. Excellent. Wonderful. And we're going to have such a great time. How many of you are in some type of sales or marketing? That's what you do. You make offers to people. You are either a coach and you make offers, or you are in you're in business and you're selling a product, you're selling service, or maybe you're someone who is wanting to do that. Let me know where you're at, where you are in your journey. And then if you would take a moment, I don't know if you can share this openly. I don't know if can they share outside of the group? No,
I don't think so.
Okay, we can't see it. All right, so I did see a place where you can invite people to the group, and I don't know how that works for you. But I think this is going to be beneficial, and you will post it on YouTube. You'll post it on other locations. Okay, so this will be great, and I'm looking forward to just jumping in. So if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you're in online marketing, if you're not marketing, then I think you're needing to add a new and something new to your arsenal. Marketing and sales and advertising needs to be a part of your life if you're wanting to make money. Right now, the volume of information that's being pushed out, the loudness, everything's so loud, everything's so vibrant, everything so massive. And so it used to be that when television and radio, they had this statement that's called own the spot. So you would buy a radio spot 5 o'clock in the afternoon You know, people are getting off work, they're jumping into traffic. You buy that radio spot and you buy that spot every single day. And they called that own the spot. And they had a strategy of owning the spot. So you wouldn't have, so you'd reach the same people and you would basically saturate the same people who are making the same car ride, who are hearing the same radio station over and over and over and over and over. That was a strategy. That was, and then they had this idea or this understanding, psychological understanding, that if you were able to do that repetitively over 5 times, they had a calculation that a person did not know what you were talking about or that you were talking to them for at least 5 times. It took at least 5 times them hearing your story, your commercial, your message before they ever paid attention that you were the one that they were talking to. Now that's extremely important. Dave, do you want me to go in the full screen?
Sure.
All right. And so you just jump in. You let me know when you want to jump in because you told me to go, and I'm gonna go. So we're gonna make this happen. All right. So I'm gonna pin myself here. So so the 5 times. So if you realize that in modern day, there's more saturation in your message. There's more saturation in every field. There's more communication in every field. If you were a barber in the old days, you may be the only 1 or 2 barbers or in that community. So there wasn't complete saturation. Now there's hair salons, barbers, so saturation, and everyone has to get their message out. I don't want you to be concerned or fearful of getting your message out in 2023. I want you to get your message out. I want people to hear it, and I want people to know that you are speaking to them. And so there's some strategies that I want to talk to you about. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about I have lots of great books, but I have 2 books that are my favorite books in the earth. 2 books that are my favorite books in the earth. Number 1, and it's my number 1 book, is the Bible. The Bible is absolute, for me, the foundations of how everything works and the principles in the earth, they work. Number 2 is this book right here, Green Eggs and Ham. Green Eggs and Ham is my favorite book in the world. I was reading it again this morning, just getting ready for this session with you. And I was reading it and I fell in love with it all over again. I like the books that I write. But I've never written a book this well. I like my books better because they're my books. But the fact is the Bible is the absolute most incredible book there is. There's not a greater book than that. Then there's this one. I know I shouldn't be advertising it, but the fact is there's a strategy in this. And I'm going to teach you some strategies from the Green Eggs and Ham. I'm going to teach you some strategies about Sam I Am and Sam I Am strategy. And so if you looked at the title, and I don't know how many of you actually knew who Sam I Am, I want to see how many of you knew when you read the title Sam I Am that you knew what that was about, Sam I Am. How many of you knew when you just saw the title, the Sam I Am strategy, you knew what that was about? So I love that little baby piggy. All right, so you got to know the strategy, the Sam I Am. I want you to realize there's something. Let me just start off with some thoughts here. And I can't read it all for probably copywriting, but he starts off with this idea. And of course, this is going to get good. This is going to be really good. But so he's just cruising down the road and he says, I am Sam. So this is the first aspect that I think that's very important in the strategy of marketing you, branding you, selling your product, is to not know your product better than you know yourself. You need to know you first. You need to know who you are. You need to be very secure in your own skin. You need to be confident in what you carry. The first thing he said is, I am Sam. I am Sam. That is such a powerful thing. Now, this is going to apply to you. So if you're in sales, this is a sales strategy. If you're in the season where you need to pivot from something that worked before COVID, didn't work during COVID, now you got it working finally in COVID because you pivoted. Now, there's a lot of people that don't realize you got to pivot again. Every season is going to take another pivot. And I know there's people that I hate the word pivot because they've heard it over and over. But the fact is pivot has always been something you've had to do. We didn't call it pivot. we may change strategies or, update things. There is important that you pivot today with both the pre-you and the COVID experience. Pivot today with that, because there's a lot of people that can't get going right now because they don't know how to pivot again. And it's not going to be I'm going back to who I was, and it's not going to be that I'm going to stay in COVID. It's going to be a confluence, and we'll talk about that word in a minute, a confluence of both and a confluence of what's coming. So you're going to have to mix things. A confluence is when streams flow into one body, and where opportunities and ideas flow into one body. You're going to have this season of confluence, bringing ideas, peanut butter and chocolate, making a Reese. It may be something different in Canada, as my friend is up there, but Reese, okay, peanut butter and chocolate. So you have this confluence of two thoughts that mingle in to make one new, delicious, absolutely wonderful experience. Well, that's what you're going to do. You're going to pivot. So this is a pivoting strategy. This is a leadership strategy of how to influence a move in people, how to move people the right direction. What does it start with? It will always start with you. That you are the key to your leadership. You're the key to your pivoting. You're the key to your sales opportunities. You're the key to marketing and branding. You're the key. And if you don't feel comfortable with you, then it doesn't matter what strategies would give you. It doesn't matter what's working for someone else. It may be working for someone else because their confidence level is at a level that yours is not, but we can get you there today. It may be working for them because they are good. They're good in their skin. They're goofy and they use it, or they're polished and they use it. Whatever their skill is, they use it to their ability. But you've got to come to this first place. Sam, I am, knowing exactly who you are, knowing exactly what you bring, not your product. Because if you get rid of this product, let's say that product is no longer available, then what are you going to do? It was all about my product. No, it wasn't all about your product. It's about you. And your product is what you have to move. You have to sell it. You have to bring it into the lives of people who need it. But if you don't think that you can do it, then you'll never do it. So you have to start with the first page of this book. Sam, I am. Okay, then he goes to the second page and he walks past his customer. And he's so busy talking about who he is. It's wonderful. He's so excited about who he is. And then he realizes, ooh, I just missed a customer. So he turns back and he says, instead of saying he says, Sam, I am. And then he comes back in front of this customer and he says, that Sam, I am. I do not like Sam, I am. So you're going to encounter people who just don't like anything. Forget about them not liking. See, he's going to have to turn someone from the worst position there is. He's going to have to move them and motivate them and create them, because he says, I just don't like Sam, I am. Forget about green eggs and ham. He's starting at the worst position. He's starting at that. He doesn't even like you. They don't even like you. And when you realize that you're going to encounter people who don't like you in business, you're going to encounter people who don't like you in sales, and you're going to have to cause them to like you, because people don't do business with someone who they don't like, whom they don't trust, and whom they don't want to do business with. They should want to be with you. They should want to be on the team. They should want to connect. Now, if they feel like you are an achiever, they may not like you, but they'll still do something with you. But they need to know you're going to make something happen for them. So this is extremely important, that when you're starting off anything, you're going to have to know your brand. Who are you? And you have to know exactly what you bring to the people. Let me give you something from the Bible. I won't hit you with the Bible a lot, but I'll hit you with this one, because this is the best branding position I've ever seen in any marketing strategies and any marketing courses I've taken or anything I've ever taught, which was this statement. Jesus turns to those that are following him. So he already has influence with them. He turns to them and he says to them, who do them out there, all the people out there, everyone other than you, because you're following me. That means I already have leadership and influence in your life. But do I have influence with them? Who do they say that I, the Son of Man, am? So it's really important that you realize you hear what he said. He said, who do they say out there the ones that I'm not connected with, the ones that I don't have a connection with, the ones that that aren't buying from me, the ones that aren't circulating my conversation and my news. They're not out there getting the information out, but what do they say about me? So this is where your real market is. Your real market is not those that are just in your community. You build your community, but you need to know not only what your community says, but what do they say? What are they saying? Well, then you hear from your closest friends, your closest people, your closest customers. You'll hear what they say. I love hearing what my customers say, but I really need to know what my customers know, why other people are not coming, why other people are not connecting. And so this is what they say. They say, some say you are, some say you are the Christ, some say you are the prophet, some say you are Elijah, some say. This is when you are really in a branding dilemma where they don't know exactly what you are. You are launched in a some say world. You are stuck in some say. You need to get out of some say. You need to be in they know who you are. They say this is who you are. They say, but then he turns to them and he says, amongst his great followers, but who do you say that I am? And then they don't, not everyone speaks up. Only one person speaks up. His name is Peter. Peter speaks up and says, you are the Christ. You are the Christ. Well, which was really interesting because it was an open conversation, test. It was an open book test. Basically, he says, who do they say that I, the Son of Man, am? This is the same as Sam I am. I am Sam. Who do they say that I, the Son of Man, am? He gave them the answer right in the midst of their little riddle. I am the Son of Man. Who do they say I, the Son of Man, am? All you have to do is repeat his riddle back to him, and you would have been brilliant, Peter. That's what Peter did. You are the Christ. And then Jesus said, man, my Father in heaven has revealed this to you. That's amazing. You're so smart. But really, Peter just paid attention to what he said. And I'm sure the Father is opening up his ears because no one else had anything else to say. So what am I trying to say to you? I'm saying branding is extremely important, that you know who you are and what you're delivering. And people need to know what they're going to get from you. They need to have that expectation. So know who you are, know what you're giving, know that there's going to be a customer that is already having a conversation. Can I give you this picture again? I'm going to give you this picture because when he first came by the customer is already in a conversation. The customer is already paying attention to something else. And most of the time, we don't give the customer an opportunity to pay attention to us. And he went by the customer first, then he came back by the customer, and then he got the customer's attention, but he didn't give the customer his message, right? So we have to know how to get the customer's attention before we give the customer's message. He gets the customer's attention because the customer is like provoked by something. Can I tell you what's really one of the most important things in your headlines or your communication, your initial conversation? Whatever you're saying should be so ridiculously and audacious that people go, I don't like that. You need to stir up some kind of emotion. You need to do this. I don't like Sam I am. I don't like that. It should be so ridiculous that it's like, okay, that's so far-fetched. How in the world are you ever going to accomplish that? And that makes them pay attention. That makes them talk. How are you going to make me into a king? What do you know what I came from? How are you going to help me? What do you mean I'm going to become uncommon? I'm becoming uncommon. What is that so ridiculous? I've spent my whole life trying to be like everyone else. When I went to high school, I bought the same pants everyone else was buying, and I wore the same shoes everyone else was wearing, and I dressed the same way, and I tried to use the same buzzwords because I'm so busy trying to be common. How in the world are you going to make me uncommon when I spent my whole life being common? You need to understand you are fighting something. You're fighting a conversation that's already taken place. I didn't mean to show you so many pictures. Sorry to bring you to nursery rhyme, but they're already in a conversation. They're already talking about something. And when you try to interrupt someone without shocking them out of their initial conversation, then their mind, they can't wait to get rid of you just so that they can go back to their previous conversation. In their minds, even if they're by themselves, they're reading their magazine, whatever it is, they're in some kind of talk in their minds. And so either you have two options: shock them out of that conversation or join that conversation. Hey, what's going on with the newspaper? What's the news today? All right. So then you join the conversation, or you just ride your little whatever that is. Come on, somebody, whatever that is, you ride that by them a couple times, yelling something that they don't really know what you're talking about. And it's audacious. Sam, I am. And they get frustrated. They get mad, or they feel they feel disconnect. They feel disjointed for a second. They get interrupted. And it's okay, because if you look at it, Facebook marketing is interruption marketing. You look at most marketing is interruption. It's if you're going digital marketing, it's this. You're going to walk by with a title. You're going to walk by with a headline, and then you're going to go, what? I mean, this is Dr. Seuss. What is this? He's the best. I'm on page 2, people, page 6. And I got all these pages that I learned something from. And you have to realize that he put a headline there that made people stop. This is the burning bush. Moses walking by on the mountain with his sheep. He sees a bush on fire. He goes, that's ridiculous. That has never happened in the history of mankind, that a bush would be on fire and not burn up. Let me see. I'm gonna stay there for a second. It's still not burning up. And then he turns aside. He turns to it. That's what's happening here. You have to know that you have a customer that's already in a conversation, and that customer is in a conversation. Now, you have to also know, as a leader, you have someone that is supposed to work with you, that's supposed to be on your team. They're already in a conversation. They go home and they listen to all kinds of YouTube. They go home and they watch all kinds of things. They're watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They've got all this stuff going on in their head, and they are in these massive conversations with themselves. And you're trying to talk to them about how to get up and do something amazing with their life, and they just want to go and sit in the lazy boy chair and eat a TV dinner. Are you serious? Or order something from a dashing something? You have to understand, there's people having these conversations in their head, and you want to bring them to a place of influence and leadership. That's a big conversation that you have to interrupt. So you have to think about these things, that these people are in these conversations. They're already in their heart thinking that they're operating at the best that they can be. They already feel like they are, do you know how hard I work? And they equate working hard with doing something in life, right? Working hard, hustling. Well, you have to know that there's a smart work that you put your hustle to, not just hustle. And there's a lot of people that are giving up so much energy, unnecessary energy, towards something that is really not going to give them the kind of pay reward that they want, right? The pay value out of what they're putting out. So I don't know if I'm going to get through all of this. So I'm going to do a little shortcut in a minute, but I want you to see just the kind of setup, and then I want to go into the rest of it. I know. Listen, you don't know. I have green eggs and ham here. I have green eggs and ham there. I have green eggs and ham here, and I have green eggs and ham. You're going to wait for it everywhere. Yes, I have green eggs and ham all over. I have a special edition green eggs and ham right there. So it's because I've seen this. So he puts down his previous conversation. He drops his conversation because this is audacious. How in the world some guy riding on a thing come and tell me who he is and what he is, and his brand is so clear, it's so obvious. Then he says, that Sam I am, I do not like that Sam I am. So what is he doing? He's owning the spot. That's what he's doing. He came by one trip, second trip, he's on the spot. Then guess what he's going to do? Now he's going to come back after he's got his attention. The man has dropped his conversation. His conversation is gone. He no longer has that same conversation. Now that conversation is over, he can start a new conversation. He used the audacious title, the audacious headline, to start a new conversation. So this new conversation caused him to drop out of this. It says, do you like green eggs and ham? Do you like him? Now look at, he'd never even seen green eggs and ham. I know that, Dave, he didn't know I was coming to do it. You didn't know I was bringing a children's book. He had no idea. I probably won't be invited again. But this is going to be worth your while. If you're watching, pray for me, help me, send me some invitations to teach, because I probably won't be invited back to this one again. But look, what's this? He says, I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like them, green eggs and ham. So he's already decided. Would you now? Then this is where I'm going to jump out here because I want you to see what he does. Would you like them? So he says, I don't like them. So let me find the options of that are available. Would you like them here or there? So would you like them here or there? Would you like them anywhere? Would you like them green eggs and ham? Would you like them salmon? Right? And he keeps it. Would you like them with a mouse in a house? He keeps going. Would you like them? Okay, so let me break this down without the book and the picture so we can feel mature here. So the customer has a conversation. Now, this is the message. The message is green eggs and ham. You have a message that people have never, ever tasted. You have a product that people have never tasted. They've never heard of it. Their immediate answer is no. Their immediate answer, unless they've already have a conversation that says, man, I wish I had some green eggs and ham, there is nothing that you have to actually now help them understand the importance of this and how much it will change their life. Now, the thing that we get stuck on is there's two M's. I want you to write them down. One is method and the other one is message. We never change our message, but we have the privilege and the responsibility to change our method. When it was time to step into a position where there was going to be a lockdown, we had the responsibility to go online. It wasn't just the option, it was the responsibility. When something new is coming, we have the responsibility to change our method so that we can make sure that our message is in front of people. Always look at what you pivot is not your message. What you pivot is not truly your product. What you pivot is your method. You're going to change your method. When you're working in leadership, you can't have the same leadership all the time. You're going to have to pivot the leadership because people are changing, society's changing, communities changing, things are developing. You're going to have to take advantage and see the herd mentality when it's happening. You're going to have to see, oh, that's the herd mentality. That's not going to help me. You have to know what's happening in the world, in the community. You have to pay attention to mindsets. You have to pay attention to statements. And I pay attention quite often to articles. The articles that people are reading, the articles that people are embracing, knowing what magazine your customer likes. And if you know the magazine they like, you can read the magazine and know the mindset that they have so that you can speak to them. Knowing how to do this, you have to constantly be in a position of pivoting. What books do they like? What podcasts do they listen to? Who are their favorite actors or their favorite movies or whatever it is? Because it helps you profile them in such a way, not a negative, confining way, but in a way that you can present your message to them in where they will eat it. Will you eat it in Forbes magazine? Will you eat it in this magazine? Will you eat it on TV? Will you eat it on the internet? Will you eat it in the radio? Right? So those are methods that can change, but I'm still offering the same thing. I'm still bringing to you my green eggs and ham. That's my strategy is changing. So if you look at this idea, just this pivoting, changing, and this constantly knowing that you are doing something with people to grow them in leadership. You're growing them in leadership. How will they grow? Will they grow online? Will they grow on one-on-ones? Will they grow in 1-minute managers, or will they grow with raving fans? Will they grow good to great? You don't know. There's so many things that we are constantly picking books and thinking that they are messages. These books are methods. You have to stick to your message and find the method that works with the community that you're serving, because you'll be reading a lot of books that have no absolute outworking in your life unless you know these things that I've already talked about: who you are, what you're doing, who your customer is, what's the conversation in your customer, what's the message, and what's the method you're going to bring. Now, the rest of this, we need to talk about the method for a few minutes. If you give me another 15 minutes, I'm going to just break this down. Number one, look how he pivoted. There's several pivots he did. Do you like it? Would you like it? Would you like it in a different place with different people, with a mouse in a house? He's breaking the pattern now. He's saying, because this person now, when you ask the question, do you like it? Every time you ask the question, it breaks the pattern of the previous question, and it allows that person to think about what their appetites are. What would I do? Would I do it with a house? Do I do it in a house, or do I do it with the mouth? I don't know. So every time you ask a question, the customer, the client has to answer the question. Your brain is automatically drilled to answer questions that it's asked. Even though if it doesn't have the answer, it searches. It goes on the search for it. So would you, then the next thing he says, would you, could you? Now he changes he changes the method. He's still asking questions, but he's now offering more options. Now, would you? Okay, but could you? Right? That's a different question. Would you? Then could you? It's the same question, but different question. Would you do it? No, I wouldn't do it. Would you? Could you? Is it possible? Do you have the ability? Because some of the problem is that the people you're asking them to get involved with something, they would, but they couldn't. They don't have the resources, or they don't have the time, or they don't. So you don't really know what their problem is. And so you start to break down, would you? Could you? Would you? Could you? Then that's the would you? Could you is there's different possible scenarios here. Oh, so if you couldn't do $20,000 right up front, could you do 3 payments? Could you? So would you do it if you had $20,000? Yes, I would, but I don't, so I couldn't, right? So if you had 3 payments to get to $20,000, could you? If I had 5 payments, I could, right? So you're now asking a different question from would you, could you? Now, this is, again, the Sam I Am sales strategy, the Sam I Am pivoting strategy, the Sam I Am leadership strategy, the Sam I Am how to cook food strategy. This is all the same. It just is the strategy for life of how to move people in the direction that's going to benefit them. And so number 5, I put in verses. Number 5, you may like them, you will see. So he now goes from could you, would you, could you, to it's possible. He starts to introduce them to it's possible. So it's possible. And then he says, no, it's not possible. Then the next scene you see, go read this, if you can, get with a daughter or son, or if they're older, then read it to them anyways. But get with them and read this, because the fact is you'll see this part where he's now traveling on the road with him. He's left the space where they were. The whole time we're having this conversation, we're going on a journey together. Now we're becoming something more than just an initial conversation. They find themselves in a tunnel, in the dark tunnel. Then he says, the scenario is changing. The time frame is changing. The position is changing. Would you do it in the dark? He analyzes what his environment is, and he says, would you do it in the dark? Would you do it during a pandemic? There's people that had to buy things during a pandemic that they said no before the pandemic. There's people that are buying things outside of the pandemic now that it's over, that right, because the atmosphere, the environment is changing. And every time the environment is changing, every time the space is changing, the time is changing, the climate is changing, ask the question again. Would you do it under different circumstances? When current circumstances change, the message doesn't change, but use that current circumstance change as a method change. Would you do not like them? Then he asks another question. You don't like them? And he repeated, you don't like them? This is important that your customer knows that you've heard them. That you're not just saying it over and over because you're ignoring them. You repeat back to them. Man, I'm telling you, this is worth gold. I want you all to send me $1 million. I want you all to send me $1 million. And I'm not giving it to this guy, Sam I Am, either. But yeah, I want you to send me $1 million, because this is gold, man. I've never taught it with this detail, but this is gold. Okay, here we go. Then he says, just if you try them, you may like them. Then the customer knows you heard him. But you must really want me to at least try them. And so he says to Sam I Am, if this will get you out of my face and just let me alone, I'll try it. He tried it. His eyes brighten up, his smile, excitement. At the end of the book, he says, I like green eggs and ham. And then he goes through all the other things that he said he didn't like, and how he would eat them on a boat, how he eat them in a house. He'll eat it. I'll eat green eggs and ham anywhere, everywhere, right? So this is the reality, is your customer doesn't know that they would like it. So you don't give them a fair chance if you ask them once. You don't give them a fair chance if you ask them twice the same way. You don't give them a fair chance if you don't analyze what's going on in their lives and try to fit it within there. You don't give your customer a fair chance that they're actually going to embrace this and something's going to change in their life because of it. All right, so let me give you five things that I need you to write down. 5 things. I'm sorry, Dave, but let me give you, we've been working hard on this all morning. I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to give this to you, right? Let me give you 5 things. First of all, number 1, write this down. Be persistent. Be persistent. Don't give up on the first no. Don't give up on the first, I don't like you. I mean, don't take it personal. That person doesn't even know you. You just came by with a high level brand, and your brand is out there and people see it. And people, it's funny, you start doing stuff online, people are going to just be common, right? You just have to analyze that they're common. If people say negative things under your Facebook post when you post something about what you're accomplishing, or people say negative things on your YouTube or on your Instagram or in your ads for your product, they say negative things, just call it common. Just call it common, because they don't know anything. They don't know anything. And there's trolls that just love to stir up trouble. They love to start that, and they want to see if their trouble starts more trouble, and they love it. And I think some of them get paid to do it, a lot of them. So I don't get stuck on the fact that someone gave you a bad review. Stay persistent. They don't know a thing. They don't know anything. You know who you are. You know what you have. You know the message you have. You know the purpose of your message, and you know it's going to help your people. So number 1, be persistent. That word persistent is the same word as shamelessness. I don't have time to get into that, but don't let shame. So if you back out of something, you feel ashamed to ask again. If you go and you look at how Sam did not feel ashamed to ask anyway. He kept asking. I mean, you get nervous reading the book after a while going, my goodness, how many times are you going to ask this, bro? And he has no shame in it, because he knows that these are going to be good for him. He knows this is, you only are going to back out of offering an opportunity to people if you're ashamed of your opportunity. And don't be ashamed of your opportunity. And if you're not ashamed of your opportunity, then you're going to have to overcome shame yourself, because shame is the only reason you won't stay persistent. Shame will try to speak to you and will try to identify you. Don't allow shame to steal persistence. I know I'm talking about persistence, but the fact is that shame is the enemy to persistence. Stay persistent. Don't become embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. If you break out in hives when you get uncomfortable, work on it. Put extra cover up on your neck and your cheeks when you just cover it up, just like, and wear turtlenecks. Just don't allow it to be seen, right? And then get a little giggle. They don't know it's a nervous giggle, but you just do whatever you have to do to blow off that steam, and you just go ahead and keep on offering, because this offer is going to be good for the people that you're talking to. Be persistent. The customer will say, won't say yes the first time. So don't expect them. Expect them to say no. Sam got rejected 13 times. 13 times. When's the last time you've been rejected 13 times on something? Sam got rejected 13 times by this same customer. So, but he didn't allow that rejection to influence him. Rejection and pivoting is a part of the process. So you have to know that you're going to be moving forward. And if you feel a rejection, don't feel like this is rejection is personal. It means I just need to pivot. I need to actually look at my method and adjust my method for this customer. Would you have it on a bike? Would you have it on a trike, right? Adjust it. Don't take rejection personal. Don't ever think that they're actually rejecting you. Oh, is it because because of this, because whatever? No, none of that matters. None of that matters. What matters is you have a product that's going to help this customer, and you need to see if there's a way that you can help them. So maintain your smile, maintain this energy, this peace, this power, maintain that, maintain it. Don't lose your power when you get rejected, right? Just put on that he or smile, whatever you got to do, but keep on going forward. Number 3, you're going to have to pivot. You're going to have to actually change your method now. You're going to have the same goals. You have the same goals. You don't miss that goal. You keep the goal, but you're going to have to actually make a little adjustments. The more you work with, if you work with ClickFunnels or you work with any kind of funnel, most of the time, any marketing strategy is not, the whole thing is not broken. So you build out a campaign, a marketing campaign, a marketing strategy. Let's say you have 5 components of it. You have to look at everything you do as building a plan. And when you build a plan, it has components, moving parts. Every moving part, it needs to be evaluated when it works. So you put it out there first and you go, okay, this is the introduction to it. This is the exit of it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pay attention. I'm just going to pay attention to what's happening here. And okay. So why isn't this worked here? This worked here. The first 2 stages worked. The third stage isn't working. So then people go, I'm not getting my result. Let's throw it away. No, you don't know if the rest of it works. You just know this third stage is not working. Change the method and change that and pivot there on that third stage. Get that to work. Once that works, then go to stage 4. It takes some time investment, takes analysis. Most people don't want to spend the time analyzing and seeing why it works and why it doesn't work. I don't like it, but I'm loving it because it makes me smarter. It makes me smarter and it makes me know, okay, now I got the third stage working. Now the fourth stage is working really well. The fifth stage, okay, that's not working. I got to adjust it. I'm not going to throw away the whole thing. It's only small components in the whole widget of my campaign that I need to work on. It's the same in your leadership pathway. It's the same in your marketing strategy, in your branding strategy. It's the same in anything you're doing, your business plan overall. Well, my business plan didn't work. Well, how do you know? Did you break it apart and find out what was working and what wasn't working? Did you have a lot of customers? I had tons of customers coming in, but what happened? Well, I didn't have enough machines. Well, there's your breakdown. Don't throw the company away. Fix the machines. Get another machine. Hire 4 other people. You have plenty of customers. Oh, did you not have any customers? I didn't have any customers. Okay, that means that whatever they know about you outside of them in or in, they don't know anything about you. Get the word out. Let people know your marketing stinks. Get the word out there. Get your branding. Walk by people 5 times like Sam I am and put your banner up there so that people say, who's Sam I am? I hate Sam I am. But it makes them curious enough to find out who you are, and then they'll walk in the door. Once you have them in the door, then it's just a series of more questions to get them to say yes or no to until they say yes to the final question, which is they will eat it. Right. So that's very important that you learn the places of adjustment. You don't just throw everything away. This is why successful people win, is because they adjust what needs to be adjusted and they don't mess with what doesn't need to be. They find a system and a process that works, and then they keep that. Don't keep throwing stuff away. That's the way of poverty. Don't keep throwing opportunities, what I mean. Throw away old junk. Get rid of that stuff. I like throwing stuff away. But this other, you know what I mean. Okay, number 4, believe that your product is good for the client. What you want is for the client. It's not just to sell your product. You need to make sure that your product is good for a client. Why? Because the customer is going to go away and they're going to talk to people. And if they're negative, that will affect you more than one positive statement. A positive statement doesn't have the same power as a negative statement. So you want to make sure that when they go out, they're going out with good news in their mouth, and they're going to be the best marketing tool you can have. Either way, if you stink in what you do and then you don't satisfy the customer, but you satisfy your sales desire, you got enough money to go on your vacation, but you didn't take care of the customer, that person's not coming back, and they're telling people not to come back as well. And it takes one positive to overcome 11 negatives. 11, this is just in words. So if I say one negative word to you, it takes 11 positive words to actually try to get on the same platform of that one and try to get back to even, right? Par. Now, if I want to go further, I've got to go 20, 25, 35 words. So can you imagine what that's like in your marketing strategy? Someone says something negative, not these trolls, but people who really, really have tried your program in your product. That's going to be completely different. You need them to be satisfied. You need to under promise and over deliver. Make sure you do that. Sam really, he really loved green eggs and ham. So he knew that everyone should love it. It'd be something that you want. So your strategy is good for the team, right? This is what you need to know. Is my strategy good for the team, or is my strategy good for me? If you're building leadership, if you're pivoting, how can I make sure that I serve my customers better? This is the last thing, and then I'll be done for today. You have to know the lifestyle change that your customer is looking for and that your product will bring them. And not just the benefits, know the lifestyle that you want them to have. From this point on, we should be able to see clearly. Would you have it on a boat? Would you have it in a, right? Where are you going to live in? Where are you going to experience this? What kind of moments is this going to create for you? And so my business should create moments with people, lifestyles. This should be a lifestyle change, not just a product to wear, but a product to feel, right? If they wear my shirt, I don't have a fashion, but if I had fashion, if they wear my shirt, I don't want them just to wear my shirt, just have clothes to wear. I want them to wear an attitude. I want them to wear an experience, a feeling, right? A person puts on a tuxedo or a beautiful dress to wear a feeling, to wear a moment. I want them to wear a moment. If they're coming to my coaching, I want them to wear a moment. I want them to wear an experience. I want them to have that moment. I want them to have. So what kind of lifestyle change is your product going to bring to your customer? And you need to know who that is. You need to know what that is so that you can truly help them. And in the end, your offer is not what you're going to do for them. In the end, your offer is the lifestyle that you're going to have after you do what you do for them. So know that your customer needs to experience something. All right. So this is going to be me on that. So that's my jam.
All right, man, there's so many things that, come to mind just thinking about everything you just said. I mean, obviously, like I've got all of Dr. Seuss books, so I'm going to go and bust them open now because you just don't think of it that way. But I think ever since we met, there's been just this, I love the way that just the way your mind operates is so different and unique from normal thinking. That's a compliment. But
yes, uncommon. Yeah, let's say.
Something like you see every day, like a loaf of bread, and then you like dissect it into like something that's just crazy. I love it. Awesome. I love it. Well, no, man, thank you so much. We got some good comments here. There's so many really usable things, and that's one of the things I love working with you as well is, everything that we go back and forth on. There's so many like easy, simple takeaways that I can just apply right away. And then all of a sudden I see the return on that. So that's something that it's really unique and it's special. So
thank you, Dave. Thank you.